Well, guys, it looks like Sony is finally gonna grow some balls and listen to the fans for once. Sony officially rebooting Spider-Man franchise after Craven failure. After multiple previous attempts at building a coherent Spider-Man franchise from the Sam Raimi trilogy to the Amazing Spider-Man reboot and most recently Sony's Spider-Man universe of villain spin-offs that nobody asked for, the studio now appears to be hoping a fresh start will be the charm. When asked whether they have plans to jump back into live-action Spider-Verse, Sony Pictures CEO Tom Rothman, during his appearance on Matt Bellini's podcast via The Town, simply noted, yes, elaboration on it. Rothman stressed, it'll be a fresh reboot with new people at the helm. However, further revealed that Sony's immediate focus remains on Brand New Day, the fourth installment in the MCU franchise, and the long-awaited Spider-Verse threequel Beyond the Spider-Verse. So don't expect to hear any major updates for now, okay? Rothman's remarks about a fresh approach to the IP as of now. It's unclear whether it'll feature Spider-Man at the forefront, especially after their previous attempt at a cinematic universe faltered in his absence. Considering fans have been imploring for a third of the Amazing Man movie with Andrew Garfield back at the center, it does beg the question whether Sony will revert to Garfield for its fresh beginning. Interestingly, Garfield isn't against the prospect of playing the webhead again. They lean towards something unique and experimental like the Spider-Verse movies via Entertainment Tonight. It would have to be very weird. I would like to do something very strange, something very unique and offbeat and surprising, kind of like the creative freedom they have with the animated Spider-Verse movies. But with Rothman adding that the new reboot will feature new people, it does make Garfield's case unlikely, even if they were to excorporate Peter in this new chapter. For years, Sony struggled to recapture the heights of Venom, which, despite being a critical misfire, was enormous at the box office and launched the studio's very own cinematic universe. However, the following installments in the never amounted to anything. Yeah, probably because most of them sucked. Substantial, and most of the entries felt like cannon fodder. Yeah, that is so very true. Movies that were only license of the IP. It also didn't help that the SSU lost the remaining goodwill after continuous cinematic disasters like Morbius and Madam Web. Oh God, don't remind me about those two piles of garbage, which became the subject of online bullying. No, it wasn't online bullying. It was the fans reacting with disgust and hatred of what puke you put out, Sony. It wasn't online bullying. Given the franchise's condition up to that point, it's not surprising that Sony finally decided to pull the plug. Yeah, I know, right? Thank gosh. Can you imagine if they didn't pull the plug? And they didn't care about what us, the fans, want? We would have gotten more garbage. More of these garbage villains spin-off movies that nobody asking for. Hopefully they will learn from their mistakes. Yeah, I sure as heck hope so. Moving forward, and given their prowess on the animation and gaming front. Yeah, speaking of gaming, by the way, I reviewed Spider-Man 2. Go check that review out. I'm absolute blast with that game from Insomniac. It'll be interesting to see if they can translate that magic to the live action front with this new beginning. Goodness, it seems like Sony is finally getting their head out of their butts, is actually going to listen to what the fans want. How do you guys feel about this news? Let me know down below. And with that, I will be seeing you guys in my next video. Peace. Also, one more bit of news before I go that is also Marvel related. Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer is set to release on next month in March. And the new Insomniac Wolverine game is set to release on this September. So figured I would throw those two bit of news in there as well. Peace!